Terence Bud Crawford is scheduled to face Jose Benavidez Jr. this coming weekend for his WBO welterweight strap that he won very easily off Jeff Horn. I'd expect this fight to be even easier for Bud. He's, in terms of talent, I've got him pound for pound number 2 just after Lomachenko, and Benavidez doesn't seem to offer much apart from a bit of youth and a lot of size, which I think may turn into a disadvantage quickly when Crawford starts whipping in some spiteful body shots. So it's the kind of fight, considering the different talent here and experience. I think the best opponent Benavidez has fought and beaten is probably Herrera, Mauricio Herrera, who's probably most famous for getting a bit screwed against Danny Garcia, and that was at light welter. Benavidez has come up to welterweight, hasn't really beaten anyone of note, and now he's going against Crawford, who's really on fire at the moment, just seems to be getting better as he goes up the weights. So it's the kind of fight, even though it's not something you should ever practice in boxing, where you probably could look a bit past him, because Crawford has got some bigger fish to fry, and these fish are ones that he needs to get frying pretty soon. In terms of potential, 147 welterweight at the moment for me is probably the most impressive, mouth-watering in boxing. You've got a lot of good, undefeated fighters there, different styles. They all really need to clash, but when that can happen, some of them are with different guys, a lot of big egos. I basically don't have a lot of faith in when they can make this all happen. The recent WBC new champion, Shawn, who beat Danny Garcia, he said he's willing to fight Errol Spence, which is great to hear, but he's probably not one of the main players. You know, he's kind of like B-level as things stand, and then we've got Spence, Crawford, and a very sort of, don't know what he's doing at all, Keith Thurman, who's still on the sidelines and seems to be quite happy about it. I don't know how he's going to play into this picture. Crawford and Spence have traded back and forth online before. They've had a bit of beef. I don't know what can come of it though, because Spencer's with Al Heyman and Crawford's with Top Rank. And I don't know, was Bob Arum salty about losing Spence to Heyman? You just don't know. I just always think it's going to be very difficult to make these fights that really need to happen. So look for Crawford to get rid of Jose in, I'd say, maybe round 6, I'm thinking. Whipping in those great shots. He just gets you at the end of his punches, doesn't he? Really well, Crawford. And he's one of those rare guys who can switch stances with it actually serving a practical purpose rather than just being uncomfortable or experimenting. I think he's going to light him up and take him out pretty quick. But after that, I want to see the big fights happen at 147, because it'll be a real shame, the talent we've got there at the moment, and they're all at the best. They're only going to get worse as time goes by. These fights need to happen. So Crawford to get rid of Benavidez pretty quick, and then I want to see one of the big ones in spring of 2019.